Hi everybody, welcome to a special edition of our panel videos. This video was requested by one of our members, and as we are about 3 weeks away from opening, I thought that this was probably a good idea to post this as soon as possible. The topic we are covering today is Basic Weapons Maintenance 101. Please keep in mind, this is not sharpening your weapons. This is not how to preserve them if you are going to store them. This is just basic maintenance that you should do, in my opinion, at least once every 3 months. Okay? And if you don't, then you know you're going to have problems with your weapons. Okay? Now, why do maintenance? Well, the truth of the matter is that for us, especially since we are reenactors, our weapons tend to be made with the same materials as the actual original item way back historically, which means carbon steel, iron, leather, and wood. All of these 4 items tend to deteriorate when you just leave them sitting and you don't do anything with them. All these items will soak up sweat from your hands. If they are rained on, they will soak up the water. And if you just let it sit there and you don't protect it or coat it or treat it with anything, then that $200 sword or that $100 knife or that $100 axe will soon, in time, and I'll be very honest with you, this can happen within 1 year. It can happen between the last fair you do and the first fair you do between 2 year types. So all that money spent is now wasted, because guess what? You're holding a rust stick, or the wood has rotted off, or the leather has rotted off. So doing maintenance is very, very important. Okay? Before I get into everything, I want to note a couple of things real fast, which is number one, most of this video will not have my face on it. Most of this video will be you seeing what I'm doing. Okay? The other thing too is that if I am interrupted, I may stop this video and then restart it. So, hey, without further ado, let's get into basic weapon maintenance. Alrighty then. Before you can start your maintenance, you're going to need to gather up a few tools and necessities. Now, if you don't have the exact thing, that's okay. Just let me know, so that I can tell you what you should use to substitute, okay? The first thing is, I personally like to keep things clean by wearing my lab coat. This is what I wear when I do my fishing gear and fishing rig ties and all that stuff. It doesn't let things stick into me, it doesn't let things spill on me, and it doesn't let things stain on me. So if you have something like that, maybe something you wear when you work in your workshop or when you're doing painting or whatever, that you don't mind getting oily and dirty, put it on. The next thing you're going to need is a wipe cloth. Now, I like using these hand towels from the dollar store, because you usually get like 2 or 3 of them for $1. And if they get really nasty and really raggedy, don't even risk the chance of dirtying your laundry. Just throw them away and buy another set. Okay? The next thing you will need is your CLP bottle. And if you don't have a CLP bottle, then something's wrong, because we bought a whole bunch of these for everybody in the guild. Okay? And I'm pretty sure most of you haven't used it all up yet. All right? Next thing you will need, and this is optional, I like it because it's good for me, is some latex or rubber gloves, because getting CLP is corrosive. And if you get it all over your fingers and stuff, it's actually kind of nasty, and you don't want to have that corrosive stuff cover you. I know you can wash your hands, but it doesn't always get everything off. So having some latex gloves is a good thing. I like to have a bunch of Q-tips around. Why? Well, because if you look at your sword or your knife or your axe or whatever, there are spots where the metal joins the wood, or little crinkles, or if you have a rapier, there are swirls in the handguard. And the best way to get rid of the rust and the dust and the dirt in those is with a Q-tip, first dipped in CLP and then clean. And I'll show you that in a minute. Okay. I like having a rust eraser because there's nothing faster to get rid of surface rust than a rust eraser. Now, rust erasers are one of those items that are very, very hard to find. They tend to be very, very expensive. And this one, honestly, has lasted me 5 years. So in my opinion, they are worth the expense. If you can find them, the best ones are made in Germany. If you can find them, buy them because they are worth the money. Believe me. Last but not least, you will need a used toothbrush. Okay. Now, some of you may have in your workshops at home a nylon bristle brush. They tend to have like a green handle, but they're nylon. If you have those work just as well, if not better. Whatever you do, though, do not use a wire brush or a metal brush or steel wool on your weapons, because that will cause microscopic scratches, which rust can get into and start to grow. Okay, so these are the materials you need. Okay, I'm going to go over them one more time. You need your CLP bottle. You need a washcloth or a wipe cloth. Optional is the latex gloves and the rust eraser and the lab coat or paint coat or whatever you're going to wear over your regular clothes. You're going to need a used toothbrush or some kind of a nylon brush, and I would recommend a bunch of Q-tips. Okay, we will now begin. Let's start with the knife, because the knife is what everybody is usually worried about. Okay, first thing you're going to do is you're going to look at your weapon and you're going to see if there's actually any giant pitted spots. Now you see these are pitted spots, and these will happen. It will happen. There's nothing really you can do about it. Depending on how long you own a weapon, these things will grow. Why? Because they are carbon steel and they oxidize. That's what they do. This particular knife has been with me for almost 15 years, so it does not surprise me that it has a little oxidation. Okay. Now, if you have a rust eraser, while everything is still dry, if you have a rust eraser and you see stuff like this, okay. Oh, sorry. First off, you want to gently wipe it off with your washcloth. Okay. This is to remove any dust or dirt that may be on your weapon. If you have dust or dirt on your weapon, then you start scrubbing it, then that stuff will grind into your metal and cause those little micro abrasions that allow more dust and more dirt to get in and to grow. I've wiped it off. I'm going to take my rust eraser. I'm going to run it along every surface. Can you see how a lot of that black metal oxidation is gone, is leaving? Like I said, depending on the age of the blade, you may never be able to get it all, but you should be able to get a good amount. Okay. After using your rust eraser, wipe it off again gently, and then put a layer of CLP on it. Okay. And rub it in. Use your finger. Rub it in. Rub it in. Rub it in all over. All right. If you need to do more on the other side, that's fine. Okay. I will tell you guys, it is okay to make this sopping wet if you need to with CLP. All right. CLP is not going to hurt your blade whatsoever. Okay. Now this blade is relatively clean because if you've watched my dagger and knife videos, you'll know that I just recently did my quarterly cleaning. So I'm just going to show you what you're going to do. Like after you put on the CLP, scrub everything. Scrub everything. Scrub everything, especially your connection points. Okay, scrub it up. Scrub it up. If that CLP oil comes up all black and dirty, that's okay. Wipe it off. Put more if you have to. And scrub it up again until it comes out clear, or as clear as that CLP will be. You're going to want to take some Q-tips and run it through. See how even after I cleaned it, there's a little bit left of the black? Okay. You're going to run it through your fixtures. Going to go through your fixtures and make sure they're all clean. Okay. Now that, when you're doing a rapier or a side sword that has the guard on it, okay, that will probably be the most time-consuming part of your maintenance. All right. When you're done with all that and it looks pretty clean, you're going to do a very light coat of CLP and run your fingers and just generally coat it. Okay. Now what that's going to do is that little seal, that little film is going to be what's going to hold on to any dust that may fall on it or any moisture that may fall on it. Okay. And make sure you CLP your fixtures too. Okay, guys, very important. And this will prevent rust, because if you have a coat of protection on it, okay, then rust and dust and things and mildew will not grow. Okay. It's kind of like sunscreen for your weapons, man. It's kind of neat. All right. You can, for those of you who have wood handles, do what I'm doing right now and do a light coat of the CLP on your wood handles as well. All right. It's not going to hurt the wood. It's actually pretty good for you. Okay. If you have wood preservatives that you would rather use instead, feel free to do so. All right. And that is my clean knife. Okay. The next item we're going to clean are axes. Is my axe. Now, when I say axes, that means axes, picks, hammers, anything that is not a sword or a dagger. Okay. Now, the crazy thing is, axes and maces and hammers and picks tend to require a little bit more cleaning. Why? Because they have more metal. They have a big, thick head that's almost all metal. So it's very important that you look at it and make sure that you get everything. Again, same thing. You start with a light wipe off of all the dust. Okay. Again, guys, I just did my maintenance, so you're not going to see a lot of dirt here. Okay. Clean off all the dust. You're going to look for certain pitted items. Okay. Certain things that you may need to take a look at. Okay. And because I have a rust eraser, I'm going to use my rust eraser and I'm just going to rub it all over. Okay. I'm not going to take too much time doing this because I've already cleaned it, but you've already seen how like some of my axe head has gotten lighter now. Okay. Please make sure you get the bottom half of your axe or your hammer. Okay. Look, see how it's getting brighter? Okay. Make sure you get the back side. Make sure you get the top of the back side. Make sure you get the bow line, which is right here. Okay. After you are done with your rust eraser, lube up your axe. And I'll be very honest with you, with axes, hammers, and maces, be generous. There's a lot of metal to cover, okay? Be careful. Don't cut yourself, okay? Be generous. Be very, very generous. Coat it. Get a good coat of CLP on it, okay? There we go. And then the fun part, you scrub. Now, I'm not going to scrub this thing for 5 minutes like I did when I first did my maintenance a couple of weeks ago. Okay? It's just not necessary. But scrub it. Scrub it all. Scrub it on the bowline. Scrub the fixture tops. Scrub the fixture bottoms. Scrub the bottom. Okay? Scrub it until you feel you're comfortable that you've gotten most of the dirt. And hey, look at my brush. Look how even though I've cleaned it just a week ago, I've got dirt on it again. Rinse off the brush, continue on. Cool? Cool. And then what you're going to do is you're going to wipe it down. Wipe it down. To get rid of all the dirt and all the rust that you've just scrubbed out. Give it a good wipe down, okay? Normally, this would be a good time to sharpen your axe, but honestly, my axes are very sharp, so I'm not going to do it. Oh, I should have used my latex gloves, but I didn't because it's hot as hell in here, okay? So forgive me, but if you have them, I would recommend it. I'll tell you what, I'll put it on for the next weapon. Now, Q-tips for the axes and maces really depend on what fixtures and curves you have. I'm going to Q-tip this right now just to show you. See? Yeah, it doesn't hurt. There is going to be a gap, a microscopic gap between your axe head and the handle, or your mace head, or your pick head, or your hammer head. There's nothing you can do about it. You can even see it. You can totally see it right there on my axe. It's going to be there. There's nothing you can do about it, except, in my personal opinion, when you're cleaning your weapon, put a little drop of CLP right along the edges of your handles, okay? Do a little drop just to give it a little protection. And then, just like with the knife, you rub it down and you give it a good, nice coat of CLP to protect it, because you're not really going to use it every day. Okay? And this is actually a war axe, so even a Norseman would probably not use this one every day. Okay? Axes, maces, hammers, picks, they're pretty simple. It's just that they're big and there's a lot of stuff there, and you just want to make sure you get everything. After that, you're good to go. Okay? I did want to mention really quick, guys, hey, if you can, I know sometimes it's impossible, but if you can, do not store your weapons in its sheath, okay? The sheath is actually to protect it from dirt and to allow you to carry it all over the place. The sheath does not preserve it and protect it from dirt and stuff while you're holding it in storage. Don't put your weapons in a sheath when you store it in between fairs and events and practices if you have the space. If you don't, I understand. You know, if you've only got one sword rack and you need every space on it, you don't have a separate area you can just store your sheaths in a bag or something, then yeah, go ahead and do it. But if you can, store your weapons out of the sheath, because sheaths are usually made out of wood and leather, those things mildew, those things rot, those things attract rust. The truth of the matter is if we were real life Norsemen, if we were real life Danes, if we actually lived back in those days, we would replace our leather and wood sheaths at least once every 2 years, just to prevent our swords from rusting and mildewing and getting nasty during campaigns. An interesting side note, one of the things that people always laugh about when they watch medieval movies and stuff is that, you know, the knight goes out there, he chops left, he chops right, kills everybody, his sword is all bloody and dirty and nasty, and he just shoves it into his sword sheath and rides off to the next battle. And people are like, oh my God, you would never do that, blah, blah, blah. Well, guess what? The truth of the matter is, yeah, you would, because you don't have time to clean. You got to go to the next battle. And your squire would clean it anyway. And the truth of the matter is that your squire, if he's any way smart, would probably have about 4 to 5 extra sheaths within your luggage to replace that bloody sheath with every time you do that. And it is very normal to replace your sword sheaths. It is very normal to replace your dagger or your knife sheath. These are wood or leather items. They are replaceable. It is part of the pack and supplies that any army would carry with them. Okay? So that's the axe, the pick, the hammer, and we're ready to go on to our next one. All right. The next one we're going to talk about is the sword. Now, a lot of people will expect me to spend the most time on sword cleaning. But the truth of the matter is in fact, that is the item that will probably take you the least time unless you're cleaning a saber, a backsword, a side sword, or a rapier that has the cage that requires you to dig with the Q-tip. Why? Well, simply put, a sword is one paneled piece. Okay? It is one paneled piece. It is usually of a higher quality metal than daggers, knives, or hammers and picks. And for most of us, we actually bought a very, very good brand of sword. I mean, we're not talking about the Pakistani steel here, okay? Most of us have a very good sword. It starts the same, just like everything else. A nice wipe down, gentle wipe down. Okay. My sword has a little pitting on it, if you can see that. That is because I loaned it to someone who absolutely positively left it out in the rain. We're not going to name any names. Okay. Next thing is, you are once again do a light coat of CLP. On both sides. And on the fixtures, okay? Don't forget your fixtures. This stuff is made out of metal too. This stuff is made out of leather. This stuff is made out of metal. Don't forget your fixtures. It's bad that a blade breaks, like, you know, if you're fighting and a blade breaks. It's really embarrassing if your pommel snaps off and your blade slips off and falls down, okay? Don't forget your fixtures. So, I'm going to do a gentle wipe, okay? I'm going to hit it with my rust eraser. In this case, there's nothing that I can get off, so I'm going to simulate. I'm rust erasing. And then I'm going to simulate this because my sword doesn't need any more, a bunch of CLP on it. And then I'm going to scrub it all over. Scrub-a-dub. 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 Don't forget the fixtures. Okay, scrub all around it. Just like the axe, just like the hammer and the picks and stuff, there will be microscopic gaps in between your blade and your fixtures and your handle and your pommel. Okay, make sure you take a Q-tip. Get in there a little bit. Ah, look at that. A little CLP left over, okay? Get in there a little bit. Dig for it, dig for it, dig for it. This takes time, okay? Guys, weapon maintenance takes time, and I know it sucks. I know it seems like, wow, I should just be able to carry it out there and fight whenever I want. And the truth of the matter is if you were one of those lords or kings or dukes, you would have multiple swords and multiple weapons, and you could, because you can go out there, fight with one, and absolutely positively wreck it, and then just pick up an extra one because you're rich and wealthy enough. Well, we are not dukes and lords and stuff. Most of us only have 1 or 2 swords. I know some of us have more. They grow on you, okay? They grow on you. I understand that. But most of us only have 1 or 2. So you have to do the maintenance to take care of it. So, still on the sword. Last thing. See, I have my gloves on because I'm going to need a lot of it. Okay? We're going to wipe down and coat our sword with CLP. Okay? See? Coating. This actually makes it a little easier having the latex gloves. We're going to coat it with CLP. Anytime you handle your weapon, okay, I don't care if you're showing it to your buddies who's coming over to hang out, play video games, whatever. Anytime you handle your weapon, even though it may seem like they never touched it with their fingers or with their hands, you should take your CLP and give it a coat before you put it away, all right? That may seem very extreme, but my honest answer to you is, hey, how much did you pay for your weapons, and can you do it again if they rust and go bad? And myself or one of the officers say that you cannot use it anymore because it looks like crap. Okay? Do not forget to oil your fixtures. I know I repeat that a lot. Do you think that's important? Maybe. Okay? So once you get that done, you can store it, hang it up. Again, like I said, if you have the space, I do recommend that you don't store it in the sheath and that you hang it by itself. So that's it, guys. It seems really simple, okay? And I know some of you may have already known this. And also, if some of you use other methods that's worked for you in the past, by all means, continue to do so, okay? This is not the end-all methods that I'm showing you here. The other thing too is that some of us who are really into their weapons, who talk to them and play with them and hold them all the time, may go even further into depth. They may actually break apart the fixtures and do the insides and all that stuff. I will tell you honestly, in general, that's just not necessary. Okay, it's fun, and you can certainly do it if you want to, but it's really not necessary for general maintenance for weapons that we're actually not going to be using to actually fight, and is mostly for cosplay or at Renaissance fairs. Okay, simply put, to review: washcloth, non-metal brush, Q-tips, rust eraser if you have it, CLP, very important. And in all honesty, if you don't have it, I recommend you go out and get some, or contact me and we'll figure out a way, because I still have extras left over from when the guild bought it, so I can get you some. If you have a little bottle that we can transfer maybe half of one of these into, I can get you some. A protective coat if you can, if you're not in an RV and it's getting to be 85 degrees, and latex gloves, okay, if you have them. If you don't, if you really want them to do this with, let me know. I'll give you some. Okay. Basic cleaning is the same. A gentle wipe down with the cloth to get rid of all the dust. Okay. A soaking in CLP so you can wipe everything and then wipe that first layer of soak off. Using your rust eraser whenever you feel it is necessary. If you see the rust, attack it with the rust eraser. If you don't have the rust eraser, go online, look to see how you can buy some. I guarantee you it's worth it. Contact me. If they come in multiples in a box, contact me. I would be happy to throw in money to get a box and we can split it, and contact other people in the guild, because like I said, this one has lasted me 5 years. Okay. And I'm not even through it all, you know. And this is just basic weapons maintenance every 3 months. All right, 5 years, totally worth the money. Once you're done with the first layer of oil, put another layer of oil on it and scrub. Scrub, 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 scrub. Don't forget your fixtures. Scrub, 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 scrub. Once you're done scrubbing, take the towel, wipe it off. All the gunk that you brought up with your scrubbing, all the miniature rust, all the mildew, all that stuff. And then finally put a light thin coat of CLP over everything. Don't forget your fixtures, and don't forget that minuscule little space in between your fixtures and your blades. Okay? Hey, I hope that helps you. I hope that allows you to do at least your level 1 basic weapons maintenance. If you have any questions, please shoot me a text, shoot me an email, use your WhatsApp. If you're absolutely unsure, come visit, okay? Bring beer, bring Pepsi. We'll sit down with a pizza. Maybe we'll have a weapons cleaning party. Or maybe you can start one with other members of the guild as well at your place, okay? I don't need to be there. Weapons maintenance is important, guys. I'm going to be very honest with you. I know most of us probably didn't spend more than $200 on our swords and our weapons, but that's $200 that you spent, and that's going to be $200 that you're going to need to spend if you have to replace anything. My honest opinion, do the maintenance, take 15, 20, 30 minutes every 3 months, clean all your weapons, and honestly, a year from now, 2 years from now, you'll still have the same weapon, and you don't have to spend big money. And that weapon, if it is a Hanwei or a Tinker or whatever, might grow in value over the years. Take care, guys. Be healthy. Hey, man, wow, isn't it crazy? 3 weeks before we reopen. Hope to see you soon. Bye-bye.